Okay, too much a tangent. This isn't a Raggedy Princess video. As much as I want it to be. You know what? Let's do it. Let's actually do it. The princesses have been one of the biggest aspects of Adventure Time's universe, arguably since the beginning. The land of Ooo is split up into multiple kingdoms, with the majority being led by a princess. Which, yeah, come to think of it, it is pretty weird there's only 2 whole princes in the entire show that can be considered princesses, since they have an actual parent in power. I mean, you might justify it with Bubblegum derogatory called Princess by Gumball, did she just own the title? With all the other princesses getting inspired as well. I mean, even King of Ooo called himself princess after taking over. But it's obvious that is an aspect of Adventure Time's original over-the-top fantasy. The princesses are a part of the world's large assortment of mutants and species, where it's practically guaranteed that every sapient one is going to have a princess. And I think that the Princesses of Ooo deserve a deeper dive. Yeah, I'm kinda lying here, it's not just a Raggedy Princess video, it's for all the princesses, but I think it's important to understand them as well to understand Raggedy more. So let's get into the noble princes in the land of Ooo. Before I start, I should say that there are of course a few princesses that are main characters that won't get mentioned in this video. Obviously Princess Bubblegum won't get a video because I've already covered them before in my Princess Bubblegum problem analysis, where I got into how PB's character regressed more and more, and the show refused to actually acknowledge it and give her any consequences for her actions. Well, except for when she got the post and she made her citizens completely unable to think for themselves. Like, if you think about it, she was nearly assassinated with a sin that would turn into an inept, pliable idiot and decided, hey, this would clearly be the foundation of my entire society. Though I did get it pointed out to me that technically it was because of Orgalork manipulating the cosmic elves so he can enact his plan by changing her prophetic dream. But I really would love to rationalize this as basic cause and effect like anybody would, and Bubblegum's horrible decision coming back to screw her over as karmic retribution. And not just that Gunther catfish the god. There's also Flame Princess, who has a fantastic arc and her own video, which you can see here, which I really wish got more attention, but YouTube has me over the past few months and isn't recommending any of my videos at all, so please see it. But Flame Princess had a very interesting story that tackled a lot of Adventure Time's themes, but the show didn't really care to address it, and after a horribly written breakup, just practically speedrun her development and ignored her. Again, watch the video for the full analysis. And lastly, there's Lumpy Space Princess, who doesn't have a video and probably never will. The thing is, the Adventure Time Analysis series is a study of Adventure Time's characters and how they grow, develop, or even digress during the course of the show, and to understand them more. But LSP really doesn't grow at all through the entire show, and she's just perpetually a bratty teenager causing trouble or being a hobo. Literally, the only time she was ever plot relevant and any observational awareness was in the Elemental miniseries, where she was the Deus Ex Machina to save Ooo. So, there's really not much I can actually talk about. I also just don't like her and find her annoying. So, sorry for anyone who wanted to see it. You know what, if you could give me a proper argument for an LSP video, tell me below. Also, I won't cover the comic and series of princesses, since that's a whole other continuity to get into. But to the rest of the princesses, we get our real introduction to them in Adventure Time's 4th episode of Prisoners of Love. There, Finn and Jerry are captured by Ice King in the same cell where he held his recent captured princesses. Here we see LSP in her second appearance, Hot Dog Princess also technically again, and our first into the Slime Princess, Wildberry Princess, Ghost Princess, Emerald Princess, and of course, Raggedy Princess. This is our introduction to Ice King and does a pretty good job of introducing him and his old princess kidnapping thing. And I mentioned before, this is also where Ice King was probably at his evilest.
They don't want to be here.
Of course they do. I would have killed them already if they didn't want to be here.
Jesus, dude! Admittedly though, the princesses aren't really characterized much in this episode. Aside from LSP doing her thing, really only Slime Princess acts as the main voice of the group. Though I am surprised that Finn and Jake never noticed all these princesses were missing, considering they're usually pretty quick to respond to it. Though, they don't seem to know what he's doing until he explains it, which makes it seem like this is a recent thing, which doesn't feel right. But yeah, the princesses themselves don't really do much, but do partake in the escape plan and use Ice King's loneliness against them, so you can unlock the door so they can make their big escape. Now, most of these princesses do show up again in more major ways, except for Emerald Princess, who was like the textbook background princess. Despite the princesses not being important in the episode, I thought it was a neat way to introduce them to the world. There is another episode with the focus on the princesses in Loyalty to the King, where Finn and Jake rescue Engagement Ring Princess, who is one of my favorite princess designs, and I kinda wish to know more about her and wish she had more appearances.
Did I tell you that I like the opera? But if you don't, I hate it!
After that, Ice King gets suppressed and shaved before going to the park, where for some reason he becomes a huge chick magnet, as Sly Princess can't help but approach them and think that they're the nice king.
Nice.
And word spread, as soon Ice King has so many princesses wanting to date him that he can barely contain them. I do love how he still needlessly imprisons them. But Finn and Jake arrive to offer their services to this nice king, which is used to his advantage. And now that he has pretty much everything he's wanted, he becomes very sleazy and picky, trying to find the best ones when he seemed touted with just any before. Here we see a lot more princesses really expand the world, and seeing a lot of new and interesting designs that will also reappear later. One of my favorites is Jungle Princess, who criminally never gets focused in the series. Now, I'm really wondering why so many princes are so into this random new guy claiming to be a nice king, but then I realized there's like barely any kings, just male royalty in the entire series, so no wonder they're so desperate.
I'm really nervous right now. I just really want to meet a nice king.
Also, this part confuses the hell out of me.
I can select my elite army of wives and take over the world!
Like, where the hell did that come from? Like, world domination has literally never once been a part of the Ice King's plan. This was never established to be a part of him. This feels real like a part of early Adventure Time where the characters weren't as developed and very pliable. But the duo exposed its scheme after technically fighting them off with a goddamn riot shield, and actually kinda giving the princes a win for once as they all beat him up at the end of the episode. And it's funny, until you remember what happens in the next season. But the next important princess-based story is Princess Monster Wife, where all the princesses— oh sweet lord! Well, okay, pretty much every princess in Ooo has been gored and mutilated, with part of their bodies somehow mystically separating. Finn and Jake immediately go to confront Ice King, who reveals to use the princess parts to make— oh sweet lord! Okay, I'm back. Oh my god, why? And yeah, it's not just me, as even Finn and Jake are so disturbed they pass out from the sight of her, which is actually a running gag. However, the aptly named Princess Monster Wife does actually love Ice King, and he happily marries her. And Ice King is the only one who doesn't fear or is disgusted by her appearance and treats her with genuine love. It's actually a surprising turn for the show, not only to give Ice King effectively what he's always wanted, but shows he does genuinely want love and affection no matter what. It's surprisingly wholesome and endearing if you ignore the literally everything else. It's a surprising thing for a character who at this point has been so cartoonishly evil, well aside from this before, and you can argue it's another step in his turning point after Holly Jolly's secrets. However, Princess Monster Wife soon realizes the horror of their own creation and existence, and willingly effectively kills herself to return the princess parts, but still proclaims her love for him. Which, wow, that's heavy. I mean, I didn't think I'd feel anything but disgust and horror with this episode, but you showed me. Next episode of Adventures is Princess Potluck, where PB hosts a potluck and invites all the princes anew, except for Flame Princess because Bubblegum has never once showed her an ounce of kindness. Like, literally, they don't even address it. Why'd they leave out one of the most important princess characters in the show? At least give a reason. It does introduce Bounce House Princess, who may be the weirdest princess to conceptually buy in the whole show. I don't think she has a kingdom or anything, she just exists.
Hey, everybody, take refuge in my body!
This episode really doesn't have much plot. It's mostly just Ice King trying to get revenge on them for not inviting him. But then as a twist, PB did invite him, he just never checked his mailbox. So, just to be clear, she invites the mentally unstable kidnapper who has traumatized and abused nearly every woman here, threatening to kill them multiple times, but doesn't invite the lonely, perfectly normal girl wanting affection who's dating one of her closest companions. Do you have any redeeming qualities? The last real princess-based episode is Princess Day, where Breakfast Kingdom hosts their titular Princess Day, where all registered princes come together to discuss their affairs, and largely the commerce and trade agreements between kingdoms. Now, I actually think this is a really interesting world development that gives us a behind-the-scenes look at the different kingdoms of the series and how each princess has a role to provide in relation to the others. But I'm wondering how this came to be and also what makes a registered princess. Again, Ood is not of a centralized government. Who's officiating this? Maybe it was the unseen princess business.
Let's get back to princess business. Oh no, not you, princess business. Princess business.
They never actually show her. I wonder what she looked like. I gave mine a shot. I do love how we see more of the large amounts of princesses, and hey, Flame Princess actually gets to be here! Nice to know that Breakfast Princess is a whole lot nicer to her than Princess Bulb.
Evil Dad will lock her up again!
And if she's imprisoned, I won't be able to complete my tests and I'll have wasted my precious time!
Though it soon does go into a large amount of infighting between the princesses over who owes what. And as much as I would love to see more of this as the world building weirdo I am, LSP doesn't.
You guys, I'm bored out of my face! I make a motion to stop talking about dumb stuff that's lame.
Shut the hell up, this is some of the most interesting world development. This is why I don't like you. Luckily, Breakfast Princess rightfully calls them out that she's a runaway hobo, doesn't have any responsibility, and she really shouldn't be here in the first place. And I know she's supposed to be all mean girls, but I agree with her 100%. You're climbing my favorite princess ladder. And LSP caused a huge stink in making drama, and BP kicks her out rightfully. Unfortunately, the rest of the episode is not Ooo politics and trade relations. It's instead LSP and Marceline working together to get back at Breakfast Princess. Wait a minute, why is Marceline here? She's not a princess. This has kind of bothered me. So Marceline calls herself the Vampire Queen, but she doesn't rule over anyone or anything. And she seems to be legitimately acknowledged as royalty despite that. You can argue that she's the last vampire, so she's a queen in that regard. But by that logic, Finn's the human king. Doesn't make much sense to me. Now, Marceline and LSP do work pretty well together and have a reasonable friendship with their rebel without a cause attitude. Yet to cause some trouble in the castle, they steal a car and...
That's awesome.
Stop right there!
What was that?
Hey Marceline, how you on the sun?
Do you think, like, doing all that bad stuff makes us, like, bad people?
Okay, how the hell does LSP question our moral judgment more than PB?
I'm PB. I spy on everybody. No big D. You're cold, PB. I'm not a bad person.
But that's it for just general princesses. Let's quickly go through the noteworthy princesses of the show before we get to our Raggedy Girl and see how she compares. Arguably the most important princess character is Slime Princess. As I said before, she was the figurehead of the princess in Prisoners of Love, but didn't get to really show much of herself. Except for this part.
Well, I'd like to marry you.
This part is great though.
Oh, gross! Put me down! Put me down!
But she does seem to fit the more diplomatic princess role than others, making sense why she's a sort of figurehead. And she does start the plot on loyalty to the king. However, she gets her one and only spotlight episode in Love Games, where she wants to marry Finn. Oh, come on, why? Why is this a reoccurring plot point? Okay, but there is a reason this time. A slime princess needs to marry Finn since her sister Blargatha is marrying another slime person named Guillermo, and this will give her custody of the kingdom. But Blargatha is actually evil and is planning to militarize it once she comes to power and then conquer all of Ooo. Which I mentioned in the Flame Princess video, but PB legit nearly destroys the Fire Kingdom, its entire infrastructure, because they might use their power against her. And yet the Slime Kingdom is actively planning to utterly take over her kingdom, and she does nothing. Like, come on! Slime Princess also says that their marriage will be in name only, and Finn reluctantly agrees to stop Blargatha. I do wonder, 1, is there no minimum age in Slime Kingdom marriage? And 2, could she literally just marry any other Slime Kingdom person? I'm sure there will be people willing to marry the princess. We also get our first look at the Slime Kingdom, where it's, well, honestly very fitting. But they have this party culture as well, and a kind of live the moment attitude, but only kinda there. But the elder plops to do a contest to decide who will be the leader and to prove their love. Finn wins the first round with a romantic song, mostly venting about Flame Princess, but then the second challenge is...
Spooning.
Wait, spooning? Oh my god! Can't you show this in a kids show? What? Okay, after that, it turns out Guillermo was fake and she loses by default. And luckily it seems Slime Princess also can't bring herself to kiss Finn, saving a lot of accusations. Now, despite this being her only starring episode, she has a random major role in the Elemental Saga, where she's revealed to be the current incarnation of the slime element. And yeah, when you're with Princess Bubblegum and Flame Princess, it's a huge honor to have a kinda barely developed side character there too. Also, I completely missed the only actual concern PB has ever shown for Flame Princess in this episode.
Are you guys okay?
Now, this would be a chance to really develop her, but unfortunately, she's still the odd one out. They're kinda mostly used to push PB's own insecurities about her elemental powers. Slime Princess practically masters it immediately, and Flame Princess has been using it her entire life, but PB struggles to do anything, leading to one of my favorite PB episodes, Jelly Beans Have Power. And yes, I am capable of complimenting her when she's earned it. Slime Princess is flaunting her powers and how happy she is with it, and a new reputation, making PB jealous. I guess since PB refuses to respect Flame Princess as a person, it makes sense that she talked to Slime Princess instead to kickstart the plot.
Okay, great seeing you and your secretions. I'll call you.
Jesus, PB, no one's safe from your wrath.
Okay, great seeing you and your secretions. I'll call you.
But she gets in contact with the previous incarnation, Chatsberry, as PB vents that she can't understand it since it's innately magic, as he helps her to reconnect with the true essence, which gives her some rudimentary control, just being able to make projectile jelly beans, which she gladly shows at the Slime Princess, though she sees right through her.
Slime is overrated.
I guess your real elemental power is envy.
You know what? You're also moving up my rank, SP. And it does lead to one of the few moments of actual introspection and vulnerability in PB, but not knowing who she really is with this power she never knew existed. But Patience sends some weird ice thing to attack, where PB tries to fight off to no avail, and tries to get Chatsberry to help, but he says she has to figure it out herself. And so she instead uses her own knowledge of chemistry to work through the fundamentals of her power, in a way combining science and magic to make an explosive soda compound to stop them and save the day, even as she's concerned with their power, which will be very apt soon. But yeah, I actually love this episode, and I love PB's journey of self-discovery here. Like, I still hate her character, but this was really one of the best character arcs. Oh yeah, it's about Slime Princess. Slime Princess gets affected by Patience's elemental spell, glowing to an all-powerful slime elemental and assimilating a fourth of Ooo. However, she is kind of big and turned the kingdom to a random roller rink. There's not even a primary emotional manifestation like the others, it's just disco, which I guess was established for slimes, but the show really doesn't do anything with it. And yeah, it's kind of the biggest outlier in the show, and it's hard that they didn't do anything interesting with it, and it just kind of seems like filler for the arc. But that's literally it for Slime Princess. Probably the most interesting side of Princess, but not by much. Raggedy Princess is another reoccurring princess, though largely just the most common Ice King victim. I love their soft, vulnerable voice though, they're pretty adorable.
Why would you say that?
They actually get a few spotlight episodes, most notably in Season 3's Jake vs. Meow, where Raggedy Princess is being targeted by an unknown assassin and Fan Jake try to help them.
Oh, it's nothing really. Someone's trying to kill me.
However, Jake finds the very tiny cat Meow, who's the assassin voiced by Gumball's very own Anna Yeast. Which, yeah, makes it kind of fun to change.
What? Or you die. I don't know. I prepared everything and no one came. Did you invite anyone? Of course not. I have no friends.
Now Jake gets poisoned and is forced to find a way to kill her or else he'll die. And he actually makes quite a few good attempts to get around it if Finn wasn't so stupid.
Cat noise? Oh, cats go meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
It does actually get pretty intense at times.
Look at how close to the edge I am.
Come on, girl, you can't be this dumb. However, through dumb luck honestly, she manages to evade Meow through exploding her biomass, and why does she have a butt? The next episode is Furniture and Meat, which finally answers something that has upset me for so long. Why aren't Finn and Jake rich for their foyer of golden treasure? So it overfills as they go to the Wildberry Kingdom, which apparently expand to a huge market where they're going to buy some furniture and meat. But being rich really gets to their heads as they bribe officials to do whatever they want and get the citizens to do whatever they want, and Jake especially gets questionable.
Listen, I want to see you two do things for this bag of money.
Okay, man.
Yeah, nice.
Can I please go through an Adventure Time video without talking about something sus?
All the gold coins you can eat. Dinner is served.
Okay, I give Jake 3 seconds before he starts turning into Mr. Beast.
How much do you think it had to pay him to lick the dust off all this dusty stuff?
And ends with Jake going to Wildberry Princess trying to again go to do weird things for money. But she, for some reason, isn't having that today, and she freaking goes ballistic, arrests them, confiscates all their money, and then...
Prepare them for execution!
Wow, execution? Okay, girl, where did this come from? They saved your life a few seasons ago from an assassin, and you publicly execute them for being assholes with their money? Good God, girl, you're getting to PB territory. But apparently just writing an apology letter is enough for her to forgive them. Wonder why he went for execution first, though. And this guy died in a horrific way. Did he really deserve it? Also, I just realized this means that the Wildberry Kingdom has a death penalty. Another notable princess is Turtle Princess, who is another common kidnapped and background character whenever the princesses are shown, but she does have a distinguished identity and role. The Turtle Kingdom, aka a massive library, is a common recurring location in this series, which is already more than most other princesses. Despite being like a librarian with an old and slow-sounding voice, fitting for a turtle, and very dedicated to her job, she does have a bit of that rambunctious teen girl side, largely when she interacts with LSP, who is apparently close friends with them. Honestly, kind of has the opposite, but it's nice to see. though it's largely her impact at the end of the story that warrants her place here, which is funny that despite this,
Turtle Princess is about to walk out that door. I told her that I like her a lot, but I really don't like her all that much.
she was a third of the face-up princess monster wife and was actually the endgame princess for Ice King, kind of. Ghost Princess is maybe one of the more forgettable princesses, but did have a main role in an episode. And unlike the others, if you notice, this one was character focused as Finn and Jake are trying to help her solve her own cause of death so she can ascend to the afterlife. This does show more of her character, having some of that raggedy vulnerability and sadness in woe of her own existence and loneliness. Also, I wonder how she got the Ghost Princess moniker when the others don't really respect her. Well, except for one, Clarence.
A princess deserves empathy, not your sass.
Also not worried for saying the same voice as Benson from regular show, which yeah, is even more fun to change.
You're better than all of these guys here.
The vital magnetism of life, the vibrating energies that connect all living and non-living beings.
I've been eating all these wings, but they're not making me feel any better. Your actions have consequences! Consequences that affect other people, like me!
My life is like a fart!
And they head off with each other very well, having an innate and intimate attraction to each other, with Ghost Princess happy to live forever with them. But if you can't piece it already, Clarence was her murderer, flashing back to long ago where she was warrior princess fighting for her kingdom. Okay, I guess that explains it. She's not the princess of ghosts, she's the ghost of a princess. And I'm going to ruin this scene right now.
Warrior princess, give up your kingdom!
Never! Not even to you, my love!
Do it or you're fired!
Both ascend and actually never come back in the show proper until having a cameo together again, which is probably why it's not too memorable, only having 2 prior appearances in a group. Hot Dog Princess is another reoccurring one, but she's not much to talk about. I think her voice is pretty funny though.
Thank you, Finn and Jake!
And her entire kingdom is a doghouse with a fence with 4 really reanimated hot dogs as their subject. Kinda wonder what happened there since they seem to be actual sausages while she just kinda dachshund.
Wow, you guys are really stupid.
What do you mean?
I actually love Dr. Princess a lot in her design and her personality, but technically she shouldn't count since she's not a princess, this is her surname. And hilariously enough, it's later revealed that she's not even a real doctor, her name is literally just Dr. Princess, that's amazing. I guess Bandit Princess would be an interesting princess, as we never had a straight up villain princess, unless you count early Flame Princess or from the Adventure Time games. But I don't think she's an actual princess, as there's no hint of her having a kingdom and species to rule over, and she's just some ruthless thief. Like, it's either a personal title, or maybe if we embellish it's a bit of a Queen of Themes moniker. Shame, since again I think a straight up villain princess would be incredibly cool, but she's really just a throwaway thief character. Now I've covered the more noble princesses, but a lot are really just in the background without any lines or characterization or anything. Which is a shame because again there's some designs I really like. But I think the princess I want to know the most about is Grid-Face Princess. Like, she doesn't fit a particular archetype, well that's not Among Us crewmate. She sticks out a lot from the other ones. Like, what is she? But she gets a single scene in the episode Something Big where Maja the Sky Witch summon an ancient power to destroy the Candy Kingdom.
It's a place that contains the highest levels of caring and sentimental affection in all of Ooo.
You sure about that?
Feed him to the pig.
This is my castle now. Cookie goes in my dungeon. In my dungeon for his life.
Jake!
Nanoguards, destroy! You're a Dillweed! You're a Dillweed secretary, and you're probably some Dillweed I've never met!
Okay, side note, what's with Adventure Time giving insanely powerful beings normal ass names? Hudson Abadir, Warren Ampersand, Matthew, Darren?
Darren, the ancient sleeper.
But both of them has Grid-Face makeup and security field to hold them, which even she doesn't understand. Which again, what is her deal? Also, there's her only lines in the series.
I don't know how how he disabled both Gumball Guardians. Sleeper's magic is older than legend, but at least I know my tech is tight. The field will hold long enough for you to think of a weak plan.
Again, I want to know what her deal is so badly. Like, come on, she sounds like one of the most interesting characters. She also reminds me of Tali from Mass Effect, but I never actually played Mass Effect, so it's probably not accurate. Also, I think it's unfair that Maja went to a coma and then got sent to the first dead world, aka Hell. I mean, all she did is try to kill Princess Bubblegum across all of existence. I think that's pretty noble. But okay, now we finally get to our main girl, Raggedy Princess. Now after everything I talked about, it seems weird to praise Raggedy Princess of all characters. It's not like she has any plot importance or even a spotlight episode to call her own. But I think there are some important key aspects that help her stand out. For one, her design. She's definitely one of the more abstract princess designs, not really being humanoid but more like an old sock puppet with legs. However, they did a good job making her look adorable with big wide eyes like the rest of the Adventure Time cast, and being super huggable looking just like an old plush doll. Well, except for that shard of glass she has as a crown, gotta be careful with that. They really balanced the raggedy toy aspect with the adorableness that really helps with her appeal. Another one is their voice. It's super freaking adorable. It's really high-pitched in a similar way to Wildberry Princess, but Maria Bamford gives her the sense of timidness and vulnerability, which adds so much to the character and how she speaks. She's always scared to talk and can't much speak in a louder voices, which makes her more adorable and likable, and will just stand out from the other characters.
Oh, hey Finn. Hey Finn, could you pour this juice into my mouth?
And of course, her personality. Now her design and voice helps her to be lovable, but it's her personality that really sells it. She doesn't have main appearances in episodes, but there's a lot you can gather from her smaller appearances. The thing is, Raggedy is largely identified by her own loneliness and lack of self-worth. It's already apparent by her timid-sounding voice hiding an inner sadness, but even early on we see hints of that. In the episodes Mortal Recoil and Apple Thief, we see her blush and giggle after addressing Finn, after fixing his backpack and finding her in a ditch. Now I wouldn't call it sort of love like with Slime Princess, maybe at most a crush, but I'd say it's really just that a hero like Finn would give her any attention, in the same vein of a shy girl in high school talking to the popular jock. It's really adorable. And it's also the fact that a registered princess would be a random scarecrow for an apple orchard. But it's clear she does it most of all because she wants love and attention and a purpose. And that's seen in pretty much the most important clip of her, and not even a full episode, the Frog Season's Autumn, where we see she's acting as a scarecrow in other fields, but instead openly converses with a bird on their perch and says that she doesn't even want to scare them, just wants to tell some poetry she made. But as she goes through, they leave.
By the freezing autumn winds. Oh, I guess I'm very good at my job. But I do wish one of them would stay to hear the whole thing.
God, she is so freaking wholesome. I want to hug her so badly. She tries to tell anything passing by about her work, but largely gets ignored. Which, yeah, story of my life. Also, her poetry's really nice.
For dreams, I heard some faint and feeble screams. The lonely last unlikely leaf was crying out in gruesome grief.
She perks up when Finn and Jake show up, hoping they heard her, but instead they're busy following the frog, as she thinks a true poet doesn't need an audience, and she continues her poetry in an empty field. And this truly embodies Raggedy Princess to me. She's a lonely, but lovable figure, just desperately trying to validate her own existence, trying to find that affection and appreciation from anything really. And she takes that pain and loneliness and vents it through art. She has her own hobbies and interests that perfectly match her personality, like venting her loneliness through poetry and being an expert in sewing and repairing despite not having arms. She's nice to everything and everyone she meets and would gladly take a friend in anything and hopes for any amount of attention in return. But unfortunately, the world doesn't give her that. And that's an incredible amount of characterization and compellingness in about a minute. But her lack of self-esteem is very evident to the point where people will mock her over it.
A Raggedy Princess can be your new Hambo. She'd do it too. That girl's got like zero self-respect.
She's bullying Raggedy Princess. Again, why am I supposed to like her at all?
You are a bad person.
And it sucks because she's not only ignored by seemingly everyone, but even the other princes are willing to dig into her insecurities. And even though that's awful, it does make her more vulnerable and compelling, which makes you want to like and root for her more. Unfortunately, she only gets one real appearance after in Horse and Ball, where Jake and Beemo go to find a replacement for James Baxter's rubber ball. And it turns out Oo's junkyard is Raggedy Princess's kingdom.
You mean the Rag and Bone Kingdom?
Oh yeah, much better name.
Hi.
They try to use Raggedy's repairing knowledge to help, but she says to fix rubber like that would be too difficult and they're better off finding another ball, which they're glad to do.
Bless you, Raggedy Princess.
But she's hiding a ball herself, which does seem like a pretty bad thing to do, but then our next scene rationalizes it. Where after conveniently stumbling upon her again, she says she has a new poem she wants to say with them. Again, keeping that characterization, but showing she is only delaying them so that she can finally have some companionship, people that talk to her, which is super sad. But as she sympathizes that James Baxter, as another artist, needs the ball to continue his work, she realizes she's being selfish and gives them all the balls they need. Which again, nice that they also justify her actions around her wanting basic attention, makes it right immediately when she understands the situation. But yeah, you can constantly see the loneliness, vulnerability, yet hope and joy that comes with her in any scene. She is seriously one of Adventurine's most lovable characters. I think everything from her self-esteem issues, her passion, is how freaking adorable she is really puts her above the other princesses, because none of them really have that same type of conflict or unique personality. And ironic that she's not given the screen time and attention she needs, but it still comes across. In fact, they should have had an episode with her and Neptune. Like, think about it, they work so well off each other. Both are patchwork beings, likely made by magic, both experts in repairing, and exceedingly lonely, just wanting attention, affection, and validation for their lives and work, but constantly get ignored and bullied by others because of it. And how different they are, but yet both get their optimism and happiness. Like, they would have the greatest chemistry ever, like Neptune would constantly try to help her through her self-esteem issues. You're thinking it too, don't deny it. Hell, remember when Neptune had Ice King's Prince's obsession that was never brought up again? This is your chance to do something with it. Also, I do have an idea for a plot, but I'll save it in case I do a Neptune video. Like, come on, Adventure Time, this would have been great. And you know, I didn't balls a ton saying Raggedy Princess was the best princess, but she really might be. PB, of course, is horrible and goes through a ton of bad actions with no consequences. Flame Princess had a compelling character arc that was dropped halfway through the show after a messy breakup, and LSP has basically no compelling character qualities, and most other princes barely have a personality or drive to make them interesting. But Raggedy does, despite her little screen time. She has an easily identifiable and relatable struggle and is pining for basic affection, struggling with her self-esteem, yet still having a unique passion and happiness that makes her so lovable and compelling. I've built her up like it's a joke, but no, she's legit one of the most lovable characters in the entire show, and I will stand she is the best princess who has done dirty out of the show and in it. They did a great job with her character. It makes me seriously wish she got more screen time to pay it off. Give her the happy ending and affection she was pining for the entire show. But yeah, it's unlikely to ever happen outside of our own ideas. But there's one thing she taught us, is that a true artist doesn't need an audience to be great. But that being said, when are we gonna get Raggedy Princess and Neptune, a musical adventure?
Oh, hey Raggedy Princess. Have you seen anything fishy going on?
Where'd you go? Where'd you go? What did you do and why?